The Professional Bowlers Association Summer Tour on ESPN is being brought to you by Columbia 300. By Pizza Hut, home of fan pizza that's winning the hearts of America. And by the biggest, the best. Nobody brings it home like HBO. And now let's preview tonight's top five. Looking for his second straight PBA title, it's 34-year-old Joe Salvemini of Colorado Springs, Colorado. His opponent in the opening match is the hottest player on the national tour, Tony Westlake of Edmond, Oklahoma. Qualifying in the middle of the pack this week, it's former PBA national champion Warren Nelson of Fresno, California. And starting from the number 2 position and shooting for his second career PBA title, it's Roger Bowker of Ocala, Florida. And of course, tonight's top seed after averaging nearly 224 for 42 games this week is Amleto Monacelli. He'll need to win just one game to capture PBA title number 4 and $27,000 in first place prize money. And welcome, everyone, to award-winning Northrock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas for the championship round finals of the $150,000 Wichita Open. Hi, everyone. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to Wichita, Kansas. It's been 19 years since the PBA Tour has staged a national event here. Back in 1970, Ski Feremski whipped, well, a youngster on the national tour in his first ever appearance on national television. It was Earl Anthony. And, of course, working with me once again here this week is PBA Hall of Famer Mike Durbin. And, Mike, summertime is a time of reruns and also repeats. And we've got 3 players on the telecast again this evening that have been on recent weeks.
We certainly do, Denny. I don't think there's ever been a time before in PBA history when we've had the winners of the last 3 tournaments on our telecast tonight. We've got guys that made 2 shows in a row and one who's made 3 shows in a row. Joe Salvemini, who won just last week, is going to take on Tony Westlake. They both made, well, Joe's made 2 shows in a row and Tony 3, and then our tournament leader, Amleto Monacelli, is in his 2nd consecutive show. So 3 really hot and familiar faces.
All right, in match number 1, it's Salvemini and Westlake, and for Joe Salvemini, he got there in a roll-off. He has to think that he's used up at least one of his 9 lives.
Well, I imagine he really would, and he had to win that roll-off last night to make our telecast. I had a chance to talk to him about it earlier, and this is what he had to say.
Well, I really didn't think I had much chance to make the show, and went out to the last game of the visiting round and looked and realized I had to win by 39 or more, and just said I was going to bowl as best a game as I could and hope for the best. Well, in the 10th frame, Mike Edwards made a kind of a bad shot and got a low count, and I realized he needed spare strike to tie, and he did it. And, you know, it's just kind of a shock. It was kind of exciting. It was just like being on TV without the lights.
And tell us about the roll-off game.
Well, I think I bowled a pretty good game. I found an area that I was kind of going light on the pocket and got a couple of shaker 5s, but I knew he was struggling with his reaction a little bit, and I knew that if I just kept in play and caught a couple doubles, I had a real good chance, and as it turned out, it worked out good.
Do you think that might be an omen to lead you to the 2nd victory in a row?
I like my chances. I'm confident. My swing is loose. I got nothing to lose. This is anticlimactic, so I guarantee I'm going to go out there smoking.
Good luck, Joe. Denny, he sounds like a confident bowler.
And if he wins tonight, he'll join 3 other players having won back-to-back earlier this year on the PBA National Tour. Well, the player who qualifies number 3, Warren Nelson, it's been a long time back for him.
Warren Nelson, when he came out, his first regular year on the PBA Tour was 1978. He won the PBA national title, very prestigious title. Then in 1980, he won again in Alameda, and then all of a sudden the well ran dry, and he hasn't won since. So we'll have to see if he's forgotten how to win.
Roger Bowker, not a household name on the PBA National Tour, and yet a very steady, a very solid player.
He's a very good regional player. Not to say that he's not an excellent national player, too, but his record in the regionals is he has 8 regional titles, 14 seconds. He got his first national win last year in New Orleans, and he also made the championship round in our Touring Players Championship at the end of the year. So, you know, he has to win 2 games today. We'll see if he can do it.
And the charismatic youngster from Venezuela, Amleto Monacelli, the top seed. He was in the top seed position just 3 weeks ago in Tucson. He defeated Dave Husted there. Does he remember how to win from the top spot?
Well, obviously he does. And now it'll be interesting to see if his mindset is different, that now he's over that hump. He's kind of gotten those demons out of his soul, and he's ready to win most of the time when he gets in that position. Just 1 game to win tonight. We'll see if he can do it.
Fans have turned out in full force here this evening at Northrock Lanes for what should be an outstanding championship round in the $150,000 Wichita Open. $27,000 on top. Match number 1 coming up next between Joe Salvemini and Tony Westlake.
Columbia 300 knows that all bowlers are not created equal. That's why Columbia 300 has spent years in research just to have the right ball for you. If you need less weight, the light dot. Drier lanes, the white dot. The perfect all-around ball, the world-famous yellow dot. If you're ready for urethane, the Columbia 300 U dot. The wine U dot for normal conditions, and the new black U dot when you want more curve. Columbia 300 sold only in lanes and pro shops.
The worst job, that photo match on. Where do these people take breaks? Do they shut that window and duck down in there? Have you ever gotten out of the car to check? Hey, are you in there? You know they look through your pictures. I went up there one time, I didn't even have to give her my name. She went, here.
Common, the funniest at their funniest. Nobody brings it home like HBO.
One of the great advantages of doing business with a firm like Schwab is that you're dealing with professionals across the whole country. They're creating financial advantages for the individual investor.
Many of our customers transfer their other brokerage accounts to Schwab because we make it easy. We help the customer complete the right form, they sign them, and we do the rest. It's that simple.
Call today for free information about Schwab services. 800-873-7900.
Wichita bowling fans have waited patiently for nearly 2 decades for the PBA Tour to return, and it has, to beautiful Northrock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas. Opening match, Joe Salvemini and Tony Westlake, a pair of players that have most recently found themselves in the PBA winner's circle.
Yeah, they've been there often enough, haven't they? Tony gets a kiss from his wife before the start of the match.
Can't hurt for good luck. Hit for Salvemini, and the crowd erupts here. Championship round pair, 31 and 32. Not the highest scoring pair in the house by any stretch of the imagination.
No, the top 5 finalists only averaged 209 on it this week. But Amleto Monacelli had no trouble with it.
Slake crosses over, breaks up the baby split, and leaves the 3-pin.
32 seems to be the troublesome lane, and it's tighter for both the right-handers and the left-handers tonight, which is unusual. Usually when a right lane is tighter for right-handers, it hooks more for left-handers for some reason. So the guys that can master that lane, I think, are going to be the ones that are going to come out on top tonight.
Tony cross lane at the 3, no problem with the first spare conversion. I would think he's probably feeling very comfortable in the championship round.
Well, he's been there often enough, that's for sure.
Tony with earnings in excess of $73,000 thus far this year, won $120,000 last year. He's pretty much right on par.
Now the $27,000 put him right at the $100,000 mark.
Yep, sure would. Fans are calling for a strike. Ringing 10 on the left-hand lane for Westlake, who averaged a paltry 183.5 on the championship round pair in match play.
And I asked him about that, Dan. I said, what was wrong with this pair? He says, what do you mean? I said, well, you didn't bowl too well. He says, I don't even remember.
Block it all out, I guess, huh? Well, that's the old adage of just remember the good things, forget the bad.
Evidently, Tony must do that.
And a spare up in the second. So Westlake with a couple of 9-count spares, his lovely wife looking on, and she said, you know, Mike, I'm not even nervous anymore. I'm actually enjoying these telecasts now. I said, well, sure. She was mentioning that to you. I mean, you make them every week. Of course you're going to get used to it.
He's confident, that's for sure.
Well, it appears as if he has some area. The ball is coming back.
Well, this right lane is much tighter for him. He said it's about 3-4 boards tighter for him. And he's playing deep inside. We see his 5-step delivery kind of creeps up on it, almost turns a little sideways, and then has that nice, pretty release at the end. Fell off balance again to the left, and every time he steps over there, he strikes.
Yeah, we mentioned that last week when he seems to lunge a little to the left at the line. He's normally thrown a pretty good shot, so Westlake finds himself in a quick hole down by 21. He has to kind of shore things up here.
Well, he did. Big shot in the match coming up right now. We're going to go to commercial break after this frame. He needs to strike right now to get himself within 11 pins. Tony, a little short step on that first step. Watch him here. Just a little short one. Then basically it's a 4-step delivery after that. Notice how steady the head. The backswing slightly higher than shoulder height, and he snaps that follow-through through. Will he carry? Oh, boy. Looked like it was going high and then stopped.
Well, he left the solid 10 the last trip, but he doubles up and cuts the lead to 11 as Salvemini tries to cool off a little bit here in Wichita. We'll be back with more of match number 1 right after this.
At Ridgeview Farms Market, we give you
more. We give you more than the best. More. We give you more than the rest. You depend on us, 'cause we're the ones you trust.
Come celebrate our anniversary with hundreds of dollars in prizes, plus specials like 2 liters of Coke for 79 cents and Stroman Italian bread. Buy one, get one free at Ridgeview Farms Market.
Hi, folks. This is Noah Osborne from Osborne Boat Sales, your Mercruiser dealer, offering you an unheard-of sale. A year-end clearance at the start of the season on all of our beautifully designed Mercruiser-powered celebrity boats, including runabouts, cruisers, and performance boats. From 18 feet to 28 feet, they are all included. We simply are overstocked and must move them out at any price. So don't wait. Come over to our Lancaster store for the deal of a lifetime. See Osborne, your authorized Mercruiser dealer.
Joe Salvemini leads by 11 and has struck the first 3 frames.
Trying for 4. Gave that a lot of room. Way too much room.
Steve Cook couldn't have gotten that shot back.
The 1-3, 6-10 loses count, and it's not an easy spare. The picket fence, as some call it. The trouble is that you can hit it perfectly on the Brooklyn side and still leave that 10-pin.
Object is to kind of paint the fence here and hit all of the pins with the ball.
You got it.
Easier said than done.
Goes from being ahead to being behind in one quick frame. Just like that.
So after starting strike, 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 he leaves the 4 count and then takes the 3-6-10 off, and instead of leading by 11, he now trails by 5.
You got it. He wanted to make sure he got across, and he just set it too short to the right, and whoosh. Crisp shot there, and carries.
Well, he appears to have pretty good carry with the light hit, but it's just a question of not giving it too much room.
You got to put it in the 1-2 to get a strike, Dan, usually. Tony, now leading by 5, can increase it to 15.
Perfect. Really fit that shot in nicely after going high and then coming back. And, boy, that was probably the best shot he's thrown in the opening game.
Super speed on that shot. This ball just held what we call held pocket all the way. Let's see where it hits, Dan. Right about the 11th forward. And right here, it looks like it might go high and then just sets solid right into the 1-3. All 10 in the pin.
He does create some velocity. He can keep the ball on line and still get it to hit, and that's a real trick at times. Trying to extend the lead even further. This one with the fast 8 as he leaves the 4-7.
And he's flirting with going high on lane 31 all the time now. He tripped the 4 the last time and 4-7 this time. He needs to either pick up the speed a little bit more than that or make another half a board move left.
What a tremendous run he has had here on ESPN this summer.
Oh, my goodness. Misses the 4-7. Boy, this is a match here of here you take it, no, I don't want it. Suddenly it goes from a 15-pin lead to a 1-pin lead, and Salvemini can take the lead back. He thought it would hang on and clip it right about here, and it just kept hooking.
Misses by a fraction. Now let's see if Salvemini can
double up and take advantage of the opportunity, and obviously the classic over-adjustment. Didn't get it out quite far enough.
He says, I'm not missing the hip hit again.
No. But this is no easy spare as well.
2-4-7.
Object here.
Get the ball left to the 2-pin and hit all 3 pins with the ball. Seems like we want to always hit all the pins with the ball in these spares.
Well, you're just about assured they'll go down if you hit them.
I never was guaranteed.
I've seen stranger things happen. Beautiful conversion that time for Salvemini, who doesn't lose anything on the count because he was on a strike.
See his first ball right here from our RoboCam, right through the heart of the pins. The ball going right about over the 21st board. He leaves the 2-4-7. Interesting shot there.
A 1-pin match now. If he strikes, he trails by just 1 and sets himself up in the 7th.
Right. Thing is, he's got to finish in the 10th on that right lane that's giving him trouble. Well, he thought they were all down, and that 10-pin just refused to fall.
He wasn't the only one that thought the 10 was going down.
Yeah, the crowd did, too.
Tough break that time for Salvemini. 2-pin lead, if he converts here. Both players have missed an opportunity at a spare, but this time Joe takes care of things. And we'll be back with the conclusion of game number 1. Look at that 10-pin. Around and around she goes. Where she stops, Joe doesn't know.
Step right up for a big show of savings. The Carnival of Values at True Value Hardware stores. Clean up with a pack of 15 True Tough yard and trash bags, just $2.99. Then pack up with a Rubbermaid rough tote container, only $6.77. This Master Mechanic label maker, just $2.99, comes with 3 rolls of tape. And for $3.33, get this Casio 8-digit solar calculator in the Carnival of Value circular and at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
I send you for a Bud Light, and you bring back...
Well, if you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
So, there are no men here, there's an unlimited supply of Bud Light, and we can never leave.
Correct.
Because everything else is just a light.
We can live with that.
Yeah.
ESPN is your ticket to the NFL when the San Francisco 49ers and Los Angeles Rams go head-to-head. The Super Bowl champion 49ers enter a new era as their new coach faces his first live test. The Rams clash with their fierce Western rivals in the Far East at the American Bowl in Tokyo. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann bring you the preseason premiere of NFL football, Saturday night, live on ESPN.
All you have to do is look at Joe Salvemini, and that's the lesson to be learned. Don't ever give up. He starts in 60th place and ends up qualifying for the show.
Interesting, though, too. Right after qualifying, he goes all the way from 21st to 8th and gets himself right in position and sneaks in there in the last game. In fact, extra innings.
Very steady week for Amleto Monacelli, never lower than 9th. Obviously, the key round for him last night when he went from 3rd to 1st with visions of winning $27,000. When Ski Ferimsky won back in 1970, he won $6,000.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That 5-pin came out of nowhere and was a slashing back and forth.
Well, both players have been in a position to put this match away, and neither one of them's been able to do it. Tony right now finishing on lane 31. Up by 2, can increase it to 12. Oh, pretty shot there.
Looked like a Nolan Ryan fastball. He unleashed the velocity with that shot. A big double, and now he leads by 12 and really sets the stage.
Right here, we're going to get a picture of it playing right around the 12th board on that lane, and the ball just flush. Watch the 10-pin. That 6-pin got it right there flush.
Little Tomahawk style. Salvemini asks for it to come back, and a tough break for Joe. He found himself in trouble here in the 8th.
3-5-9 by no means. I mean, these pairs are not getting any easier that he's shooting at. The picket fence and the 2-4-7, the 3-5-9. Got that one strike on this lane and made it into a turkey, and he hasn't hit the pocket since. Even with that spare conversion, though, Dan, I think he's used up about 8 of his 9 lives right now.
Well, he could shoot 220 if he takes this one right off the board.
So he's still alive, but the heartbeat is weak.
Realizes that time is running out. What a marvelous run for him, though, the last 5 or 6 weeks.
There we see the difference. 15 pins, 2 frames to go.
Started off strong with 3 in a row and then was lost for a while. Let's see if he can find himself again on lane 31.
That's his good lane. He had to have that one to set himself up for the 10th. See what happens. We're going to see the old baby wall shot here. The baby walnut, as they call it. And the headpin goes to this sideboard and gets this 5-6-10 back live. Ooh, and Tony, with a chance to put the match away, didn't do it again. 3-6-10. He has to make this now and double in the 10th frame and get 9 to shut out Joe Salvemini.
It's amazing to me how they go back and forth. Yeah, that was the key shot. If he strikes there, he's really got him by the throat. Westlake with a match play record this week of 15-9 would trade all 15 wins for a victory here in game number 1. Doesn't waste much time. And he takes out the 3-6-10.
You were worried, were you?
No, but it looked like that ball might hook a little bit, and I'd take the 3-pin right off.
And again, he had that Nolan Ryan fastball going again.
Watch the. Well, it's too bad we don't have the gun out for this one, the radar gun, because this one's going to be a smoke, and I have a feeling. Opportunity if he would strike out to shoot 222. Striking 9 closes out his opponent, or 2 strikes and 9, I should say.
Right. Gave it a little room. Came right back. Nice shot.
Amped that shot up a little bit. Salvemini scans the board, realizing the time right now not on his side.
Nothing he can do about it. It's all in Tony's hands right now. One more strike and 9 pins, and he's going to go on to face Warren Nelson.
Roger Bowker, qualifying number 2, and Amleto Monacelli, our top seed this evening. Well, that was left to target from the very beginning, and he knew it. So, Salvemini, for the 2nd week in a row, is going to have an opportunity to win the match in the 10th.
Remember last week, though, when he bumped it out over that first board, they came back. He's not doing that this week.
Nope.
This was high, like you say, from the moment it left his hand. It just never got off his hand clean, right through the heart of the pins. He makes the spare. He's going to finish with 212, which makes Salvemini gets 2 strikes in the 10th frame.
All right, so 212 for the player right now that's the most dominating on the PBA National Tour. Joe Salvemini, pretty easy story, as Mike just mentioned, needs at least a couple of strikes to advance.
Joe takes very little time, although I say that he backs off and tries the hand again. See what he does here. He said, I'm not pulling it, and it just never made it up to 3-5-6, and Westlake's the winner.
Fans appreciative of the gutsy effort that time by Salvemini, who gets a pat on the back from Westlake. Despite the 5th place finish, the best year that Joe Salvemini ever had was '83 when he won $52,000. And with the money he's already put in his pocket here this evening, he's at $53,000 for the year.
So he's got something positive to take home with him.
No question about that. Trying to become the 3rd player or 4th player this year to win back-to-back titles, but he'll have to end up in the number 5 position as Tony Westlake, the man in yellow, will advance into game number 2 against Warren Nelson. But before we get to that, well, Mike Durbin's Average Builders coming up next. Stay tuned here on ESPN.
There's a level of performance that separates the good from the great. That's why Carmen Salvino designed the Ebonite Thunderbolt. The exclusive power core increases gyroscopic action for a sharper hoof on heavy oil. And the Thunderbolt rolls farther before hooking, so it hits harder for less deflection and more striking power. The difference between good and great is the power of the Thunderbolt.
Every player is a winner playing blast. Hey!
Just buy a medium or larger Coca-Cola. Pull the sticker and you're an instant winner.
$1,000!
Flashback. Win cash or prizes. Or McDonald's food at all-time prices. Like a 25-cent cheeseburger.
Play once, play again. 'Cause every time you play, you win. When you flashback with Mac at McDonald's.
Time now to check in on the tournament statistics here from Northrock Lanes in Wichita, Texas. Games over 200, 1832 high, 3-game series, 780, and Dave Arnold was on fire for the first 18 games.
Yeah, he was our qualifying leader at that time. As we see, we started out with a field of 160 bowlers, as we do in most of our tournaments.
I should say Wichita, Kansas, I'm sorry, rather than Texas, as I'm corrected there. As you take a look further at some of the other tournament statistics, all bowlers averaging a little over a deuce this week.
And lefties and righties pretty equal. Took 212 to make our top 24, and to get some money out of this tournament, you had to average 206, almost 207.
All right, and on top of the board this week, Dave Arnold with the only perfect game, but several other high scores recorded this week.
Marshall Holman up there with a 289. Sam Macaron just missed the telecast a few weeks ago. Tom Kreitz, who won just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, with a 280 game. Now we're ready to improve our averages. I know I'll be watching this one because Mike Durbin's Average Builders coming up next on ESPN.
My partner in crime, Denny, has been after me to do a tip on a bowler's pre-shot routine. So that's what I thought I'd like to do tonight. A tip simply on the bowler's pre-shot routine. And I think that can be quite easily defined as simply the routine a bowler goes through before he or she delivers the ball. And it seems to me that there's 3 basic ingredients to a pre-shot routine. The first thing is that it's individual. Everyone's is different. Mine's different from yours, and yours is going to be different from the next guy. The second thing is that I think it needs to be constant. If we're going to improve in the sport of bowling, we need to make everything we do the same every shot. And that includes all of our preparation before we throw the bowling ball. And the third thing I think that a pre-shot routine needs to have is it shouldn't be too long. Slow bowling is a curse in the sport of bowling today, and if we take too much time, we ruin the enjoyment for everyone. Now again, it has to be individual. Mine is different from yours, but basically all I can do when I show you a pre-shot routine is simply what I go through before I throw the bowling ball. And I hope that as you notice the things that I do, it'll give you some idea of how to set up your own individual pre-shot routine. Now, the first thing that I like to do before I throw the bowling ball, usually as I'm waiting for my turn and trying to determine when I'm going to get up and bowl, is I take a towel and I wipe off the dressing on the bowling ball as the ball is on the settee right there. The reason I do that is I want the ball clean as it goes down the lane, and quite simply, as I pick the bowling ball up, I don't want to get any dressing on my hand. Now I'm ready to pick the ball up with both hands, and I put it in my left hand like so. This at least makes me look good even if I don't throw the shot good. But right now I want to make sure that I don't have any perspiration on my right hand as I'm right-handed, so I hold it over the hand dryer for a couple of seconds. Now I'm ready to get up on the approach. Now on the PBA Tour, we weight 1 pair to the right and 1 pair to the left. But in your normal league bowling, that's going to make it too slow. So I think the basic rule there is simply 1 lane to the right and 1 lane to the left. For example, I'm on lane 32 right here. I look to 33 if it's clear. I look to 31 if it's clear. It's my turn to bowl, and I get up on the approach. Now, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to find out the spot that I'm going to start from. And on this particular lane, to try and get a strike, I'm going to start on the 25th board. That's the first dot to the left of the middle dot. Now, it's important that I stand on this board every single time. If I'm throwing the ball in the 1-3 pocket, there's no reason to move. If I'm not hitting the pocket, then I may want to move. I may want to make some kind of adjustment. But I don't want to start on board 25 this time and board 27 the next time. Make sure that you're on the same board and that you remember what board that you were on every single shot. Now, as I get myself set, I bring both feet up here together. And what I like to do at this point is put most of the weight on my left foot. The reason for this is that I'm going to start with my right foot. I'm going to take a 4-step delivery, and if I got most of the weight on my left foot, it makes it much easier to start with that right foot. Now, again, I've still got all of the weight of the bowling ball in my left hand, and I'm ready to now to start picking up my target where I'm going to aim, which is going to be the second arrow from the right, and I'm ready to start putting my hand into the ball. And the way that I recommend that you do this is to put your fingers in first and then your thumb. The reason, again, being that if I put the fingers in first and then the thumb, it's more likely the opposite will happen at the release, that the thumb will come out first before the fingers, which is absolutely necessary. So that's what I do, keeping most of the weight of the ball in my left hand so that my right hand and my right arm is nice and relaxed. I'm in position now. Now, at this point, you're going to see a lot of pro bowlers do a lot of different things. We may see Amleto Monacelli holds the ball up like this, and before he gets ready to start, he puts it down and does a little dipsy-do here before he starts. Or we may see a Del Ballard who has one foot behind the other. Before he starts, he raises his left foot. This is his trigger mechanism. Or we may see a Carmen Salvino who holds the ball down with one hand here, brings his left hand over here before he's ready to start. Again, it's individual and everyone does it different. Personally, what I do after I've set myself up and I get my hand in the ball and I'm ready to go is I simply take a breath and then blow it out and then I'm ready to go. I just breathe in and then I'm ready to go. Now I'm going to go through it one more time at normal speed so you can see what it looks like just as we're normally doing it. The ball's on the ball return. The first thing I do is simply wipe the ball clean of any oil. Pick it up with both hands, put it in my left hand if I'm right-handed. Hand over the hand dryer for a couple of seconds. Look to this lane, look to that lane. It's my turn. I get up here, I find my spot, the 25th board, set myself up, weights on the left heel, weight still in the left hand, the fingers in first, then the thumb. I breathe in, blow out, and here I go. Remember, you want to make it yours alone. It has to be individual first. Second, it needs to be the same every single shot. And third, we don't want to take too long. Be sure and join us again next week when we'll have another average builder, which hopefully will improve your average.
And coming up next, Tony Westlake trying to win his second consecutive match. We'll take on Warren Nelson of Fresno, California when we return to Wichita, Kansas.
Mom, what's rocket fuel made of? Look it up, dear. Look it up, dear.
Stay tuned for a free offer from Encyclopedia Britannica.
Come taste the adventure. Come reach to the sky. Come feel the excitement of who, what, where, why. Open Britannica. Explore and you'll find that living the moment can capture your mind.
To find out more about Britannica for your child, call toll-free 1-800-544-1000. And we'll send you this free booklet. And just for previewing Britannica in your own home, you can get this 3-volume desk reference set absolutely free. So call this number now.
There's experience for a lifetime in Britannica.
Call now.
Warren Nelson of Fresno, California starts on the left-hand lane here in game number 2.
Interesting, Dan. All of the finalists tonight that had the opportunity chose to finish on the left lane, and Warren chose initially to do that and changed at the last minute.
Plenty of speed and leaves the washout. Not the way you want to start a championship round appearance.
Well, he hasn't been there in a while, so he's a little nervous to start right out. Give him a boost of confidence, though, that he could convert this. He wants to get the ball to the left of the head pin. You know, this is similar to what we had on the tip last week, only we had the 6-pin added in there, but it's the same conversion. You get the ball to the left hand and drive that head pin into the 10. Just didn't get across.
Well, hung a little bit on him, so Nelson opens up in the first and opens the door for Tony Westlake, who is an optimist.
See Warren Nelson here just sailing it by the head pin. And it didn't make it up. Tony Westlake, in the meantime, sends it right to the heart of the pins and leaves the 6-7 10. So we've got both ends of the spectrum, light and high.
Any opportunity to make this for Tony?
Oh, sure. He's going to move left. He'll give this a shot because he has nothing to lose except a pin and count. He's going to try and hit that 6-pin thin on the right and slide it across. Definitely a possibility. But not this time. So they're all even.
Both players start with 9, and we've got an even match through the opening frame. A couple of opens for both players.
And it's twice in a row now. The last 2 times that he's been on that right lane that Tony has, he's gone high both times. And we see his blistering average on this pair, the TV pair.
Tony defeating Joe Salvemini in the opening game, 212 to 199. Roger Bowker next in line, and Leto Monicelli, our top seed this week. Tony quickly up, a little more speed, light hit, 2, 4, 5, or whatever, falling all over the place, and the 4-pin hangs on.
And Tony's actually really trying to overthrow almost right now. He's trying to get so much speed that it's just not natural, and he's forcing the shot, not making his normal smooth delivery. He really jerked it that one. See how much smoother he threw that as he misses the 4-pin. My goodness, he has missed. He missed it on the left. You remember the last time he made the move that time and it didn't hook this time. He says, how do you make the 4-pin? Watch this. He threw it smooth, really. But just sailed right on by you, hit some oil. The conditioner is definitely moving down the lane, and Tony is beside himself.
Warren Nelson doesn't waste any time, and right back in the pocket for scoring Warren, a much more solid effort.
And he made a move there. He moved in closer to the 3rd arrow. Now, the only bowler in our championship round that's playing the lanes that deep is our tournament leader. And he did the same thing on the right lane. When you try and swing it on that right lane, it won't make it back. So he moved deeper. Let's see what kind of move now Warren makes on the left lane, whether he moves deeper on it also.
Warren with games of 171 and 185 on the championship round pair and an average of only 178, so he struggled in match play as well here.
He did. He moved deeper there, too. That lane hooked, and he leaves the Greek church. So, Dennis, we've had, 5 frames, and we're going to have 1 mark between the 2 of them, assuming that he doesn't make this.
Well, we've had an assortment of numbers being posted by our 2 professionals. There you see Tony Westlake even shaking his head at this stage, so
Tony's going to be sitting in the position having opened twice and still be leading the match.
Oh. Now that is a gift, right? Well, let's see if Warren can create a little magic, and he can't do it. So he picks up the 3 count, 35 in the 3rd, and this one has started very slowly.
Well, it's kind of ugly, isn't it?
Well, to be honest with you, yeah. Both players having their problems. More room on the right-hand lane. The bucket stands as Tony pleading with lane 32. Give me a break.
Well, it went high the last 2 times. He makes the move, and you see the result. He probably moved 2 forwards with his feet and 1 with his target, and the ball didn't make it.
Fans at home are saying, I can't believe these guys with these opens. Well, all week long, there was an out of bounds here this week, and we'll talk about that as we go along. Well, the bucket now missed. So Westlake with an open in the 3rd, and an 8-pin deficit separating these 2 players that are just trying to survive game number 2.
This is getting uglier by the minute. I mean,
well, there was a situation this week where if you got the ball a little wide anywhere across the house, you could pick off 3 on the right. It was a skid pattern out there.
And Tony has the bucket again. These spares are not getting easier, and his attitude is not the best right now. I've never seen Tony give that mock rooting thing for bad breaks and spares. He's usually very placid. And the thing is, he's not out of this match at all.
Are you kidding me?
He makes the spare, and he's still right in this match. He's in trouble. Oh!
Well, Tony says, why not? No problem. And Nelson leads by 8 at the halfway point. And I think both of these players right now are dazed and confused here with the championship pair. If they regroup, will they regroup? Let's hope they do. We'll be back with more right after this.
remembers the good old-fashioned days of bowling in the USA. Come in and bowl for only 50 cents a game. Get 50-cent hot dogs and sodas, too. August 4th through 6th and 11th through 13th. Only at Clearview Lanes, Route 230 between Mount Joy and Elizabethtown.
Vermont comes alive with the finest tennis ever played. The Volvo International. Tomorrow afternoon at 2 Eastern, live. Only on ESPN.
Mary's saying, Tony, you got to move. You got to do something.
No. She's saying, let me go in for you.
Westlake with 27 through 3, but he does have a spare up in the 4th, and we're making light of the fact that these professionals are really struggling here. Now, let's see if they can make the adjustment. Warren struck the last trip on 32. Oh, look at this. The 7-10 in the pocket. And Nelson's a tad disturbed.
You know, I think the all-time lowest winning score that I can remember was when Dennis Jakes bowled Sam Zurich in Canada a few years back and won, I think, 155 to 154. As this ball comes in light, and we've seen this before, and pins just don't mix right, and the 7 and 10 are standing there.
Warren saying, yeah, that's about par for the course. How about a double hitter? No, not quite. So, Warren Nelson with a pair of donuts in the 3rd and the 4th has Leroy Kelly through 4 frames, 44.
For those of you that don't know, Leroy Kelly was a great running back with the Cleveland Browns.
That's right. Of course, I'm a Browns fan. 3 pins separating these two champions. And right now, I think it's like the old adage in golf, the first player to post a score, any score, might win this one.
Well, we could have a very low winning score, that's true. Ward says, they all go down the first time, I don't have to throw again, I can't open.
A sight for sore eyes, a strike on the left-hand lane. Tony Westlake, the quick player that he is, loads up in the 5th. Now, I don't want to bring up a sore subject, but I do know that through your years of appearances in the championship round, surely somewhere along the way, you hit a pair just like this one.
Yep, my last appearance.
Is that why it was your last appearance?
Yeah, that was it. I said that was enough. I quit.
And you shot?
150-something. In the 150s.
In the 150s. More speed. Will it hold pocket? Not a chance. 3-6-10 being left for Westlake, who still is in a state of confusion.
He makes the spare. He's still leading the match with just 3 marks and 6 frames.
It's not how, it's how many. And if you finish ahead of the guy you're bowling, you get to advance, right?
Well,
it is match play.
Tony's trying to do it with speed and just overpower the lane, where Warren, to me, is trying to read the lanes and figuring out what's happened here. Is the conditioner and dressing is carrying down the lane and confusing the bowlers with the reaction that they're giving. Good shot. Ball snapped right at the end and left the 4-pin. Actually, I think Warren has the better ball reaction on the pair.
I do, too, and it's the first time I've seen a professional this week that was pleased to leave just the 4-pin.
That's no gimme. I mean, if Tony's missed it twice tonight, so...
The last trip, he left the pocket 7-10, so I guess you have to be thankful for small favors. Nelson, 33 years of age, with 2 career PBA championships, would like to remain in the Firestone Tournament of Champions. A win here would go a long way in keeping him there.
When he won the PBA National in 1978, he got 7 years eligibility. At that time, we used to give 7 years eligibility for winning the PBA National. Now it's only 3 now for winning the National.
Still a very close match.
Not high scoring, 67 to 64. Everybody at home saying, I can beat these guys.
Mm-hmm. Not a chance if you come out here. More room this time, and the head pin, dodging the 10. A lousy break for Warren Nelson.
In the pocket, though, 3 straight shots. His last 4 shots have all been in the pocket. He hasn't fared too well, but still has an opportunity. Must make this fair.
Warren, throughout his career, is averaging 235 in championship round appearances. The number could dip a little.
Just a little, yeah. That's in trouble.
On the lane, stay on the lane. Nelson with an open in the 7th. Yeah, I'm mopping my brow as well. Let's hope they regroup here in Wichita. We'll be back with more of the Wichita Open after this.
It's just a pure and natural feel. So icy cold, so crisp, so clear.
Of all the beers that are cold filtered, only one has that distinctively clean, crisp taste. Budweiser, cold filtered and Beechwood aged for over 110 years.
When the U.S. swim team needs eardrops, there's no competition. Murine eardrops for wax removal. Murine, the official eardrops of the U.S. swim team.
Interested in a better hand soap than that me? I can cope. I don't need no lava soap, no. Regular soap won't always work, but lava with hummus will. Interested? No, no, no. Lava, that don't try to cope without it soap.
Well, the Opens are leading the marks in this one. 7 Opens and 6 marks in 13 tries.
Kind of embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I'm sure these two guys are very embarrassed, but there's not much they can do about it except get up there and throw and hope something falls down.
Oh, they're trying. No mistake about that. Westlake left the fingers in that ball and leaves the soft 10.
And he's got the same side up, too.
He's saying, listen, I'll take the 10 by itself, make it, and go to the next frame.
He says, I make this, I'm winning by 14 pins, shoot 160.
I'll tell you what, though, it's exciting no matter what because the match is close.
Tony converts the 10-pin with no trouble. The only one he's having trouble with is the 4-pin.
I know one thing. If this keeps up, we better call the paramedics and the paramedics both. Wow.
1 strike Tony has in this match. Has not had the ball in the pocket that I can remember. Oh, he did leave the 4-pin on lane 31 in the 2nd frame.
Now, will the lanes change for the better as this match goes on, or no?
Well, we hope. Actually, they're getting tighter. And the brakes are going his way. Same hit that Warren Nelson had, only he gets the head pin to hit the 10-pin.
Westlake with a strike in the 8th, and that helps the cause.
Nelson needs to strike here. Watch the head pin. Goes to the sideboard, and we can't quite see it as Tony gets in the way, but it sent the message to fall down.
Set that one down a little shorter for more rolled. How about tripping out the 2? Doesn't happen. So Nelson with a 9 spare opportunity in the 8th. Trails by 14.
Warren, a 5-step player, kind of a classic bowler. Steps, then pushes. See the ball pretty much in time all the way through, right at the top. Nice slide. The head steady. Can look pretty and still struggle.
Oh, I like his game. Very solid game, very square, and he's, I think you're right, has bowled the better match of the 2 players, but hasn't had any opportunities for breaks.
Well, his best possible score is 172. Right now, Tony is not shooting that much, so Warren still has an outside chance. He needs to set himself up for the 10th frame. As we look at all those donuts and very few X's.
Warren's lovely wife, Mara, watching in Fresno with 1-year-old Brittany. Their fingers are all crossed, I'm sure.
Nice crisp shot there.
14-pin lead for Westlake, who could extend it to 24 if he strikes here in the 9th. That
puts him in the 170s, Dan. Now he needs to fill 17 pins in the 10th frame in order to come out a winner.
Did you notice a little more loft on that shot?
As we see the wall shot, yeah, he wanted to make sure that he got it a little right and see if it would hook back a little bit to get a piece of that hit there.
Key double for Westlake in the 9th, trying to really notch the match here with a strike in the 10th.
First one in the 10th puts it away. That's enough right there. He's going on.
Well, you know, I mentioned the lanes changing. Will they get lined up? And those are 3 excellent shots for Westlake.
Let's hope that they're getting a little hold. Sometimes that'll happen as the oil and the dressing carries down the lane. It'll create what the bowlers call a little hold spot down the lane, and the ball will actually hold into the pocket. It doesn't appear that that's happening to me. It appears that they're circling just a little bit here. Out around that 10th board. But if they get it just a hair wide, that's what happens, the bucket right there. And that's the 3rd time he's left that spare this game. But 182 is definitely going to win this match.
Kind of hard to believe, but with a spare, 182. If I were him, I'd practice the bucket here.
Absolutely. He's missed it once and barely made it the other time.
Warren Nelson up off the bench obviously has to be disappointed. Westlake with 182. Doesn't sound like much, but it's more than enough to get the job done for Warren Nelson. A week's work comes to a screeching halt as far as he is concerned, and he leaves the solid 10. So for Warren, a week worth $6,000.
And even when he was out of the match, the breaks wouldn't go his way. Actually, he had 4 or 5 balls, about 6 balls there out of the last 8 in the pocket. Yep. And you got to make those spares, too.
Starting from the 5th on. Well, actually, if you look at the 7-10 and the 4th, that was the shot that really hurt him. But yeah, didn't miss the pocket after that. Did miss a 10-pin, which didn't help. Little 2-pin tickler in the 8th frame. And for Warren Nelson, you can see him kind of joking to himself a little bit. Has a couple of words for Tony as well. And it's a frustrating evening for Warren Nelson. But as well as he has been bowling as of late, wouldn't surprise me if we find him back here in the championship round very soon.
Well, he certainly hopes so.
Come on, one more. They're calling, and the 6 count is enough. And thankfully enough, it's over for Warren Nelson. 182 to 148 as Warren still searching. And coming up next, a feature on the PBA Rookies of the Year. We'll be right back with more after this.
Just when you thought you knew which battery was best for your car, along comes this dynamo. Interstate Megatron 34, the runaway leader in every performance test by America's leading consumer product rating service. Here's cranking power that ran circles around better-known brands and reserve energy that left others stranded. The Interstate Megatron 34. A bit of a show-off, perhaps. But then it did test best. Call 1-800-CRANK-IT for the dealer near you.
Don't let morning breath ruin a good morning. Use Scope. Nothing powers away the film that causes morning breath quite like the power of Scope. Scope, the best thing, first thing in the morning.
Nothing is so fleeting as fame. Just ask any bowler that has received Rookie of the Year honors. Only 2 of the last 10 winners have garnered a title in their 2nd year. Some attribute it to sophomore jinx. Others say sophomore slump. Of the 23 winners, 15 have gone on to win PBA titles, but for some reason, the 2nd year often serves as a stumbling block, and bowlers have to figure out how to clear that pressure hurdle.
I think really, if there is such a thing, generally the player themselves create it. They have spoken of sophomore jinxes in other sports, and I guess bowling would also qualify.
Pete Weber won the award in 1980 and has racked up 13 titles, but he too came up empty in year number 2. Mark McDowell won the award in 1986 and didn't win until this spring. McDowell doesn't buy the sophomore jinx theory, but he does agree there's added pressure.
Well, I don't think there really is a sophomore jinx. Any jinx that occurs is just from pressure you put on yourself. You know, after being voted Rookie of the Year, you want to come back and show everybody that you deserved it.
Mike Albee and Tom Kreitz are the only two who claim titles in their second year out. Kreitz won the award back in 1985 when he captured the PBA National Championship in Toledo the following year. Like McDowell, he believes that Rookie of the Year honors can be tough to handle, especially with all the extra pressure.
The start of my sophomore year was a pretty tough start. I didn't cash but about 4 times in the first 12 tournaments, and then I happened to win the 13th tournament to turn my year around. So after that, it kind of relaxed me. But there is always, I think, a certain amount of pressure after being Rookie of the Year to try to come back and at least equal, if not better, that performance.
If the mental pressure isn't too tough to deal with, there's always the threat of injury.
Our reigning Rookie of the Year, Rick Steele-Smith, had a physical injury that he had a promising career, and he has not bowled a tournament.
And Golden also adds that others simply have given up bowling to pursue other interests.
There was a fellow from Montana by the name of Guy Roberry who came out and was honored as the Rookie of the Year, so obviously he had some promise, but he was also an artist and decided to go back to painting pictures.
Obviously, there's no cure for the sophomore jinx. It's an accepted occurrence in all sports, not just bowling. But perhaps this little item could come in handy.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Bridges. Dylan's my grandson. You know, I didn't know what was in my water until I had it tested. Oh. That's why I had a Purelux water purification system installed. Purelux from Electrolux, a company that's brought you the best quality home products for over 60 years. Purelux uses ultraviolet light and carbon filtration. Ultraviolet light to kill viruses and bacteria, carbon for organic contaminants. Purelux is so effective because it's the only one with the double pass system. 2 passes through ultraviolet light. Purelux delivers great tasting water. 99.99% free of all bacteria and viruses. Instantly. Are you concerned about safe drinking water? Electrolux Water Systems would like to mail you an eye-opening report by Water Test Corporation of America. To get your free water report, call this toll-free number now.
Get ready for non-stop action in August on ESPN. There's one great hit after another in 4 live NFL preseason showdowns. Aces abound as the tops in tennis tune up for the U.S. Open. Golf's greatest shoot it out in the final leg of the Grand Slam, the PGA Championship. Daring drivers rev up for NASCAR and Formula One thrills, while the pins fall on the PBA Summer Tour. It's an action-packed August on ESPN.
And with me is a familiar face, the tournament leader this week, Amleto Monacelli. Amleto, it's kind of getting to be a habit having you here and interviewing you.
Well, it's kind of nice. I feel pretty happy. I'm bowling pretty well, and I just hope I can keep it up.
Amleto, you're famous on the PBA Tour for being in great physical shape, and I know that you have a daily regimen that you do every day. Tell us about that.
Well, I usually wake up pretty early in the morning. I like to be awake before I bowl, and I do my stretching exercise, run or jump rope, you know, what I feel like doing. And then I do my cool down, and then relax and do a little mind exercise, which I've been learning the last couple months. And it's been working pretty good.
When you run, how far do you run?
I usually, at least I gotta do 3-4 miles. Longer, it could be a little tougher for me when it's the summer too. Now in the winter, I can go a little longer.
Okay. You're married now. Has that physical exercise and everything changed since you've been married?
No, not really at all. I mean, in the beginning it did, but I couldn't help it. I gotta go. You know, it's like it's a happening. I have to do it, otherwise mentally and physically I don't feel the same.
Okay. You're from Venezuela, Barquisimeto. Just how far away is Venezuela?
I know it's about 1,200 miles from Miami.
From Miami, 1,200 miles. How big is bowling down there?
I wouldn't consider bowling too big. I would say 10 years ago it was better. I think it's going down. I don't know why, but I wish something happened, go up. But major, I don't know why.
Well, what are the major sports down there?
I would say number one, baseball and soccer. Basketball is getting up there. That's it.
When you grew up, you were playing soccer, right?
Yeah, most of the time.
All right. What's the money denomination down there? What's the equivalent of our dollar?
Bolivar. $1 would be like 40 bolivars. When I came out in 1982, it was like $1 was 4 bolivars. Now it's 40, so it went up pretty much.
So if you win here tonight, $27,000, how many is that in bolivars?
It would be close, like almost $1.2 million, almost.
So you'll be a millionaire if you win this, huh?
I don't know, because inflation went up pretty bad. I mean, it's like 600% for this year.
Amleto, you're a big star now in the United States. You're on television a lot, and people recognize you. And are you that big a star down in Venezuela?
No, I wouldn't say so. Back home, I don't know. Bowling, maybe in my town, they know me because I bowl. But I don't think they understand that I'm doing this for a living. Sometimes people think, how can you bowl for a living? Well, you know, sports back in the States, you know, you get paid for it. And they say, well, I'm going to start bowling now. You know.
We got to get ESPN down there, don't we?
Yeah. They get it. With the satellite, some people get it.
They do.
Yeah.
One last question. You know, you won just 3 weeks ago from the top spot, and you seem to bowl with a lot of confidence then. Do you feel you're over those problems bowling in the championship match?
Over, I don't know. I'm getting used to it. You know, I feel like I'm working more with my mind now. I'm ready, and I just think about, you know, what's the best to do in that pair. And before, I just get nervous, and I would say, you know, I would think, when is this game gonna get over? You know, I want to, you know, get it over, get the check and go. You know, but now I'm thinking more about, you know, my bowling game.
So the experience has really helped.
Yeah, it's been helping. Yeah.
Good luck in that title match, Amleto.
Thank you.
We're going to be back with the next match where Tony Westlake, we're going to see if he can defeat Roger Bowker in the upcoming match and see if he can win his second title in just a few weeks. Don't you dare go away.
With its long flowing lines and its all-new suspension system, the 1990 Subaru Legacy is arguably the best looking and best handling car in its class. And with its 16-valve 2.2-liter aluminum alloy engine, it's certainly the best performing four-cylinder car in its class. Unfortunately, those who can best appreciate the Legacy's 130 horses can least appreciate its roomy interior.
Maybe someone's trying to tell you something.
After my family, there are 3 things in life I really love. Food, food, and more food. I absolutely adore chili. I devour pasta. Then I just live for desserts. How do I stay fit? With the support of a magazine, Weight Watchers magazine. Weight Watchers magazine explains how to prepare delicious low-calorie food to help you stay fit. It also has 7-day menu plans, exercise tips, articles on fashion and beauty, and much, much more. For mouth-watering meals that are easy to prepare, and for the guidance and encouragement we all need, subscribe to Weight Watchers magazine. It worked for me. It could work for you.
Call 800-554-9000 for 12 issues of Weight Watchers magazine. Only $14. That's 40% off the cover price. You'll also get free our expanded dining out calorie guide that includes fast foods. Call 800-554-9000 now.
Well, the ship may have gone down, but Westlake grabbed the life preserver in game number 2 as he ended up defeating Nelson 182-148. So Tony advances to the semi-final game now, and let's see whether he'll sink or swim here.
Well, he says that's better than I started the last game. I started with 3 straight opens the last game.
Well, if anybody can go out there and play the loosey-goosey game, it's this guy here in the yellow shirt. There you see the numbers as they stack up this evening and throughout the match play portion, so he is improving.
It'd be amazing if he won this tournament and didn't average 200 on the spare.
Roger Bowker right now conferring with Harry Golden, our national tournament director.
Well, there's a pin in the 7-pin channel back there, and he's asking, does it need to be removed? And I would think that it does. I would think that it is definitely in play. See that pin sitting there, that they would have to get it with a hook. As we see, they are getting it with that hook.
Captain Hook. Well, you gotta love a guy whose outfit matches his bowling ball, huh?
Just hope it doesn't match his disposition, huh?
Oh, a little tight on that lane.
That ball never appeared to go into a roll. Roger definitely has a different delivery. Holds that ball out there without a left hand. 5 steps, just controls it. Total muscle player. Now forces it back, catches up. It's definitely not how I would teach it, but he makes it work for himself.
It would appear to be a tough way to get it handled, but he spares up in the first as he converts the 2-4-8, and I'm told that he put a little sandpaper to the ball after practice.
Well, that's legal. Our PBA rule says that you're not allowed to alter the surface of the ball once competition begins. His competition hadn't begun until he finished his practice balls.
And you go to the sandpaper to get a little more friction, a little more grab.
Right. See, that's just indicative that the oil is carrying down and the lanes are extremely tight.
Keeps the speed up and leaves the dinner bucket surprised at that last effort.
In other words, what is communicating out there is if I were there, I'd be throwing a backup ball right now.
Right. If you were there, you would have hired the nearest sandblasting service.
Or got me hook at his ball I could find.
Oh boy. Well, all right. Now let's talk about the tight lane. Can you slow the speed down?
You should try. I mean, if the ball doesn't get into a roll, you have to. As he makes the spare, that ball got into a roll. When I say get into a roll, Dan, I mean that it's spinning as it goes down the lane and turning on its axis, called precession. But as it finishes that precession, it goes into a roll and rolls into the pins thumb first. And it's not really getting through the precession mode. Tony's ball is. Tony's ball is going into a nice heavy roll at the end, and you would think that he'd have an enormous advantage over Bowker in this match. Although 10-pin, 10-pin.
Plenty of practice for the corner pin here this evening.
And that'll happen, too, when lanes get excessively tight like that, and it takes away from the roll of the ball going into the pocket, then you get a lot more corner pins. The ball's just not as alive as it hits those pins as it would be if it were picking up a little bit more traction.
Tony throughout the week with a high game of 267, a low game of 163. Third consecutive appearance. Trivia question for you. Who's the player on the PBA Tour that had the most successive television appearances?
The most successive?
The record is 5.
I would have to say Earl Anthony.
No. He's the current president of the PBA.
Oh, John Petraglia.
Oh, a slash-o-matic for Westlake in the third. Yeah, Petraglia makes 5 in a row.
Well, you know, Tony bowled in Tucson for the television show and shot 220-some that game and lost and didn't make it that week, or he'd have made 5 in a row.
He went from 5th to 7th. Bowker trying to start the engine, and he does. Nice adjustment that time.
It's just a line drive shot. No arc in that ball at all. In fact, it's just reminds me of Bill Hardwick, only a lot more speed, just up and set.
Rogers' game, he mentioned to me, if I have an opportunity to tug it a little bit and get the ball to sit and go into the pocket, that's an advantage for me. So I don't think the lanes are that difficult for him. He just got to get lined up.
Well, if he feels that he can make a mistake to the left and the ball stay in the pocket, that'll give him confidence. He got it up there. I didn't know where that would make it, and it did. So he goes ahead this match.
Big shot for Bowker. Now leads by 7 in the early stages of the semifinal game. And with strikes like this, he may end up in the title match against our top seed, Amleto Monacelli, when we return to Wichita, Kansas.
Does your closet crush your clothes till they end up looking like trash?
Now get 500% more space with the filing system. Look, 20 hangers normally take up all this room or end up looking like this. But our system separates and organizes hangers. See how much extra space it makes? It's simple. Just hang your clothes on the filing system and file them away. Now when you need them, they're fresh and wrinkle-free. Don't struggle with storing winter clothes. Now you've made enough space for summer and winter wardrobes. There's even a fold-up version for travelers. It packs itself in seconds and then unpacks again with no wrinkles, no worries. They're tough, unbreakable, and normally cost $9.95 each. But we'll send you 3 regular filers plus the fold-up filer, all for just $9.95. Call now.
Use your credit card and call 1-800-544-1000 or send $9.95 plus $3.95 shipping and handling to Filing System, Box 20, Department E, Los Angeles, California. Don't miss this fantastic offer. Call now, 1-800-544-1000.
Without question, Wichita's dynamic duo, the proprietor John Crum and the tournament chairman Frank DeSocio, and Mr. Crum and myself were fortunate enough earlier today at the Wichita Country Club to, as it were, steal $2 from Marshall Holman on the golf course. Doesn't happen very often.
Marshall's a good player. Tony trying to get back in the match. And his third 10-pin in 4 frames.
Not to fret, Mary. It'll happen. Patience is the key. He's hitting the pocket.
Yeah, but you got to get 10 instead of 9.
Normally, that's the case.
Bowker looks like he's made the adjustments.
Westlake tried and true. And on lane 31 with 5 strikes now in 2 games. He's got 5 strikes on the right-hand lane, so parity on the championship round pair for Westlake.
Still struggling, though. I mean, he's averaging 197 on the pair and is not bowling a deuce yet in this game. He's got the pocket down, though, this game.
He almost tore the finger holes out of that shot. You see how long the ball stayed on the fingers?
Yeah. Well, Tony lifts the ball hard. I crossed with him at the Tournament of Champions a couple years ago. He was hooking it right around me, Dad.
Or so did the other 50 players that were in the field. No, just kidding, just kidding. Bowker with an opportunity to lead by 17 if he strikes here in the 5th.
Could have carried. A little weak. Left that 7th pin. The wall shot 7. Head pin goes to the sideboard and misses the 7th pin. Take a look at it, right? Watch the head pin. It's the key shot. It's the key pin. As he knows it's light. And it goes, and it gets the 4 and the 5, but misses that 7. Keeps Tony Westlake in the match, though. Well, he had it measured just right.
Little stick at the foul line. Players bowling on synthetic lane surfaces this week, and from time to time when the humidity is high, there is a problem with sticking on the approaches.
Now and then.
Weather, temperatures in the 90s today, very high humidity here in Kansas.
6 pins the difference in this match. Oh, boy, the 2-pin missed both the 4 and the 9. What a bad break that was.
Really tried to fit that one up and in the 6th. It's the 4-9. Reasonable to think that you can make this?
He's got to go all out for it. Trying to throw the frozen rope, and that 2-pin goes to the sideboard, misses the 4, comes across, and misses the 9. He's got to go all out for this. And doesn't get it to the left side of the 4-pin.
Not what he was hoping for, so it's 112 through 6 frames, and instead of leading by 6, he trails by 7, a 13-pin swing on the 4-9.
Right, and Tony now can make it 17 and then 27 with a couple of strikes here. Can really turn this match around. Will it carry? Yes! A little slow, but it fell.
in slow motion. Key double, though, for Westlake, who grabs control of the semifinal game.
Wants even more control with one here, Dan.
Sets the table with a strike here in the 7th.
A lot of speed. Ooh, and it carried up 5.
So Westlake grabbing control of the match here with a strike in the 7th. A turkey for Tony, as it were. He leads by 27. And we'll see if Roger Bowker can come back when we return.
What do you have? Give me 2 pizza puffs, a chili dog.
Excuse me. Gus.
1 minute.
Sorry.
Give me 2 pizza puffs, a chili dog, a large.
Hey, Lord. Gus, I told you, to be hot dog kings, we need lots of Bud Light. Not full blood?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Now what do you think?
It's beautiful.
Because everything else is just a light.
Hey, what about my pizza puffs?
Now you put the letter in here, and the letter goes round and round. Whoa, and it comes out here.
With Sharp's choice of fax machines, you can send documents in as little as 12 seconds to any place in the world you can phone.
The photo goes round and round. Whoa, whoa, and it comes out here.
And that will change the way you do business forever.
And it comes out here.
Sharp, the #1 selling fax machine in America.
I'm Bob Lee. SportsCenter coming along right after the bowling. The Orioles and their marathon road trip on a wild one at Fenway Park. Frank Viola in his new league. And Thurman Munson remembered 10 years after. Dan Patrick and I right after the bowling. See you then.
Ah, yes, the handsome Ray Beatty, the general manager here at Northrock Lanes. A fabulous facility here in Wichita, Kansas, built at the expense of over $5 million. We mentioned it was an award-winning center, chosen as the most beautiful center architecturally by the Boulders Journal magazine in 1989.
Wow, quite an award. Roger says it's time to get started striking. Got the 10 out.
Little karate chop from the 6.
Or the tomahawk.
Well, you have to start somewhere.
He's got to strike here, Dan. He's down 27 pins. He's got to put some pressure on Mr. Westlake.
Well, he could shoot 232.
Yes, he can.
I'm being ever the optimist.
As you always are.
Of course.
Well, he's had a couple bad breaks. You know, the 7-pin in the 5th frame, 4-9 in the 6th, and the 7-pin in the 8th. He's had the ball around the 1-3, and they just haven't fallen.
Well, he's thrown enough good shots to be right in the thick of the match, but much like Warren Nelson, couldn't come up with a carry when he really needed it. Roger won his first PBA title last year at Don Carter's Greater New Orleans Classic. Defeated Purvis Granger. Outstanding regional player. Still trying to straighten things out on the national tour. Good enough player when he gets his type of condition. He can certainly make it to the championship round.
Good enough to win. He's a champion.
Oh, yeah.
He's a champion.
All right, Westlake works on the 3-bagger and leads by 27.
High. Nope.
High flush.
High flush, yeah. Very good. I thought the ball was going high, and it just sat right there.
Well, Westlake.
That more or less, well, doesn't close the door yet, but one more with it, absolutely. Something disastrous has to happen to Tony here for Roger to have a chance. Best Roger can get is 212. Tony cruising at a 229 pace right now. High again, but the trips the 4.
Well, now he's got it all his own way as he trips out the 4, possible 259. And who would have ever thought after the 182 last game that he would shoot 250 in the semifinal?
Well, it's going to set up a very interesting title match between two of the really red-hot players on the PBA Tour. Probably the two best right-handers out here right now.
Bowker trying to strike on that right-hand lane again, and he does. And you got to give him credit. He certainly hasn't given up in this match.
Boy, he's had, since the 2nd frame, Dan, he's had every ball in the pocket and just has one double to show for it. So Reminds me of many a game I bowled on the PBA Tour.
So many times you talk about hitting the pocket, but it's the percentage of carry for strikes that really is most important.
Well, even at that, you talk about 2, 4, 6, 7 frames. He's got 4 strikes, so his percentage is not outstanding, but it's over 50. Of course, at 50% carry, you never cash out here.
Nope, you can go hungry doing that. Set it up and almost faded back, leaves the baby split in the 10th. So a third-place finish for Roger Bowker this week. And nevertheless, still a solid week for him and a solid payday of $8,000. Kind of a tough night for him and wife Brusette and kids Raymond, Vicky, and Trina. I know they were all standing by in Ocala hoping for better things tonight, but it just didn't happen.
Tony's bowled an outstanding game. I mean, 3 10 pins and 4 frames and then all strikes after that. He could have them all.
This goes to show you leave these professionals on the same pair of lanes for any given length of time. And what's going through Monacelli's mind right now?
Well, Monicelli came on a few weeks ago and faced a very hot David Husted, who seemed to have everything figured out too, and it didn't intimidate him. So, but Tony seems to be ready.
Gearing up. I mean, the flaps are up, the wheels are down, and he's ready for takeoff. He's got a little hold on lane 32. Well, the string stops at 6. More than enough, though, for Tony Westlake of Edmond, Oklahoma, who is in the 240s here, and the scores are going up.
At least for Tony.
Good thought. Westlake waltzes to a 248-180 victory in the semifinal game and gets a handshake from Roger Bowker. Meanwhile, Amleto Monacelli in turquoise, ready for the championship game. But before we get to the title, bowling news coming up next.
The smartest ideas on campus began on the shelves of your hometown True Value hardware store, where this classic gooseneck lamp from Tensor is only $9.99. Then decorate with Tucker storage crates in great-looking colors, just $2.99 each. This Remington Fuzz-Away shaver, only $5.99, can make shirts and sweaters look like new. And protect your gear with this tough True Guard combination lock, just $1.49 at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Tremendous left hook following the right hand by Ray Leonard. And now Hearns is holding on for dear life, which is something he didn't do in the first fight. A right on the left. Leonard just missing and a right glance. Can Ray Leonard do it?
Boxing. The biggest, the best. Nobody brings it home like HBO.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Bowling News, brought to you by Pizza Hut, maker of pan pizza that's winning the hearts of America. And welcome, everyone, back to Northrock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas, where the PBA is currently staging National Tournament Event number 26 here in 1989. Mike Albee and Del Ballard Jr. still running neck and neck as far as 1 and 2 are concerned on the PBA's top 10 money list. Despite missing a check this week, Mike still stands number 1 with earnings in excess of $280,000. Del Ballard finished up 9th this week and added $3,000 to his yearly earnings. Meanwhile, Leto Monicelli, our tournament's top seed, if he wins this evening, well, he could move into the number 3 position right past idle Pete Weber. PBA Player of the Year, Brian Voss, remains number 6 with earnings in excess of $90,000, while Dave Ferraro, who finished up 41st this week in Wichita, is also over the $90,000 barrier. Tony Westlake, coming off yet another outstanding performance, has cracked the top 10. And, of course, the road to success on the PBA National Tour runs right through the championship round, and that's why Amleto Monacelli is having his best year to date. The talented twister has twirled his way to an impressive 8 Final 5 appearances, including 3 championship round finishes in the last 4 weeks. And while we're on the subject of red-hot bowlers, Tony Westlake of Edmond, Oklahoma, has been selected as the Bowler of the Month by the Bowling Writers Association of America. Tony captured his second career PBA title just 2 weeks ago in El Paso, and of course finished up third place last week in Austin, Texas. And Leto Monicelli ended up second, while Dave Ferraro and Guy Stenning tied for third. Stenning earned his lofty status as a result of winning this year's high roller tournament, which was held out in Las Vegas. In the 27th annual Lee Evans Tournament of the Americas, which was held at Cloverleaf Lanes in Miami, bowlers from 19 different countries tested their talents through 18 tough games. And for the first time in 16 years, the Americans effected a sweep. That's right, they captured both the men's and the women's singles. Wichita's own Gordon Vatican, who has coached the Shockers to national championships, proved his own bowling ability en route to winning the singles competition. Dean Lightbourne of Bermuda and young Brad Briggs of the United States both rounded out the medal winners. Meanwhile, Debbie McMullen of Denver, Colorado finished atop the stack in the women's chase for the gold, while Gabby Begay from Venezuela and the Collegiate Bowler of the Year, Linda Norrie, a guest on the Bowling News earlier this year, ended up winning the bronze. Brunswick, in order to give more exposure to our Olympic bowlers, has been conducting a series of Team USA exhibitions throughout the country. Now, there's all sorts of trick shots and competitive bowling as well during these exhibitions. And yesterday here at Northrock Lanes in Wichita, we had an all-star cast on hand. There you see the great one, Mark Roth, and of course our tournament leader, Amleto Monacelli, and they are trying to convert the classic double flying eagle. Never before tried here in the United States, and let's take a look and see if they can effectively pick it up. Of course they do, in front of a jam-packed crowd, fans going wild. Meanwhile, of course, the player who represented the United States in the 1988 Summer Olympics, Mark Lewis of Wichita, right here at home, throwing strikes in front of the hometown fans. Along with Mark Williams and Johnny Petraglia, the newest member of the Brunswick advisory staff, Brian Voss, was also on hand to sign some autographs and, of course, throw his fair share of strikes. And yours truly, although the 10-pin was left there, had to be pressed into service to bowl for the Italian squad. Captain John Petraglia pulled up lame, put me on the pedestal, forced me to come out of the closet. Look at the ball speed. Unbelievable. And the man who has thrown more Brooklyn strikes on the national tour than Joe Berardi, that's right, Denny Schreiner waves goodbye, and perhaps a PBA card somewhere in the future. Every once in a while, we like to take a trip back down memory lane. And tonight on the Bowling News, we would like to salute 84-year-old Lou Campy. 32 years ago, Mr. TV Bowling won 14 consecutive matches at the famed Bowlmore in New York City. I'm not going to mention any names, but 13 of the 14 victims ended up in the ABC Hall of Fame. Lou was also the winner of the first ever PBA tournament held in Albany, New York, way back in 1959 at the tender age of 53. One of our regular viewers here on ESPN, Lou has been feeling a bit under the weather. We wish him a speedy recovery, and we also want him to know that he is finally remembered. And that's a look at Bowling News this week from Northrock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas.
There once was a boy named Patrick, whose passion was picking pepperoni. He perpetually picked on his playmates' pizza, putting them in some pretty precarious positions. For people like Patrick, Pizza Hut presents new Pepperoni Lovers Pizza. 2 prolific pilings of pepperoni packed between 2 extra plentiful portions of cheese. It's a Pizza Hut pepperoni paradise. Now Patrick's passion for picking is pacified. Perhaps.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
And the other finishers here this week, Mike Edwards. What a tough week for him as he lost in the roll-off, ends up 6th.
The great Marshall Holman getting closer to the championship round there. Dave Arnold, who was our qualifying leader, bowled 300. Del Ballard, who was up there for a long time but struggled in the last 8 games.
Several other players bowling very well here this week. David Traber at 14th. Dale Eagle, number 15 this week.
And Brian Goebel in the top 24 again, right there. Jimmy Keith hasn't been there for quite a while. Paul Ashby from Ohio, Denny.
Certainly one of the most outstanding bowlers, young players. John Odrobinek, after qualifying high, ends up 23rd. Del Warren back in the finals, and he finishes 24th this week at Northrock Lanes. Well, the final 2 are practicing, preparing for the championship round game. Tony Westlake with a brilliant 240 game in the semifinal. Monacelli winning the last time from the top seed. How do you see it, Mr. Durbin?
Well, I think that they're going to watch your shot there and that Brooklyn shot that you got and go for following your form there.
Well, of course, I wanted to keep the speed control the way I liked it. I didn't want to throw a firm shot thinking it might leave the bucket, so I opted for the Brooklyn strike, and obviously I won't be joining that advisory staff in the near future.
Well, no, to answer your question, though, I think that we couldn't have a better title match. We got the two hottest right-handers on the PBA Tour right now. They're both bowling well. I watched Amleto in the practice balls, and he was hitting the pair very well, and obviously Tony, 248. It ought to be a classic match, Dan.
Right, now, you look at the two players. Tony Westlake can go around with the ball a little bit if need be, but on the other hand, the glassy stare there of the Venezuelan, Amleto Monacelli, he likes to hook it from one side of the lane to the other.
But as he said in the interview when I talked to him, that he's learned from experience, you know, that if he's got to go a little straighter, that he can do that now, and he's going to let the lane tell him what to do. And I really look for him to bowl a very good game.
Of course, he's made some gutsy adjustments in recent weeks, especially in the position round game last week, as you recall.
He's done it all along, you know. He can't be bowling much better than he's bowling right now, you know. Even though his record in the title match is still only 3-11, he's hoping to make it better tonight.
And of course, 2-6 from the top seat position, but he did win in Tucson, and he did beat Houston. That had to bolster his confidence.
Well, it did, but you remember in that match, a big shot was when Dave Houston left a solid 7, and Amleto tripped the 2-pin forward in that match, and that kind of turned that whole match around. So again, just, it ought to be a good match. I look for something, you know, in the 220 to 230 range, and I'm not going to jinx anybody by predicting a winner.
All right, strategy-wise, if you're Amleto and you've watched Tony Westlake bowl the brilliant game in the semifinal, what do you do him with starter finish? Do you let him finish on the lane he likes?
No, I pick the lane that I want to finish on, and that's where I finish. I don't think about Tony at this stage of the game because he seems to be hitting both lanes right now, at least based on that last game. So I pick the lane that I want to finish on and go with that.
Well, either way, whoever wins this match, he will have won 2 out of his last 3 tries in the championship round. $27,000 up for grabs and the Wichita Open title. We'll be back with a championship game from Northrock Lanes right after these messages.
Autry's Inc. Realtors present the perfect home for those who crave peace and tranquility in a natural setting, Timber Villa, and invite you to visit one of these exquisite homes. This incredibly spacious property has over 3,000 square feet of finished living area with room to expand. It features 4 bedrooms, a luxurious master bathroom suite, and a unique double deck perfect for entertaining. You simply won't find a better value for your money. Lovely 1-acre wooded home sites are still available in Timber Villa, so call Autry's Inc. and discuss your dreams today.
One of the great advantages of doing business with a firm like Schwab is that you're dealing with professionals across the whole country. They're creating financial advantages for the individual investor.
Many companies reward their employees with stock options. That's why we offer an option financing service. It's flexible, convenient, and enables our customers to enjoy the full rewards they've earned.
Our Schwab One account is a good example of how we give investors an edge. At other brokerage firms, it takes $20,000 to open an asset management account. At Schwab, it only takes $5,000. And we give daily interest on investment funds, check writing privileges, and a lot more.
To me, one Schwab difference is very clear. Most brokers are good talkers. Schwab brokers are good listeners.
Call now for free information about Schwab's no-fee asset management account. 800-346-9400. That's 800-346-9400. Call Schwab now.
Well, these Kansas bowling fans are hooting and hollering here at Northrock. Only 2 left, Westlake and Monacelli. Amleto opting to look at the floor here rather than Tony's first offering.
I'm looking forward to this match. Has to hurry. Well, You know what's going through my mind right now is he hasn't been able to hit the 4-pin on the left side of that lane. How's he going to get it between the 7 and the 8?
Now, what would you aim at there? Do you try and make the 4? Would that be your philosophy?
Well, you want to hit the 7-pin on the right, then on the right with 4-pin flush in the face. Let's see what he does.
All right. Ball backs up, takes out the 8, so Westlake with an open in the first. Amleto with plenty of rosin. Dries off the thumb hole.
Deeper than any of our other players, and he starts that lawnmower.
Monacelli with a cool strike in the first.
5-step delivery, that open hand at the top, and then yank on it with that bent elbow coming through. You'd think that would just tear his elbow up. And the 6-pin leans on the 10. Well, he's using one ball in the right lane, another ball in the left lane, didn't he? Didn't catch all of that one. Just a different feel of that bowling ball. You can do that. First player I think I ever saw do that may have been Jim Stefanich back years and years ago. That they had the confidence to do that in the championship round.
Well, the key is to get the reaction that you want from the equipment you're throwing, and if the two lanes are that much different, you might as well play them individually.
The only problem is getting the same feel with both bowling balls. And Amleto has done that and done that and done that over the years. He has missed spares early in the game in that championship match, and that had to just drain every bit of confidence that he had right out of him.
Westlake up on the approach so fast it was almost in Monacelli's backswing, and Tony comes charging back, hits the pocket, and leaves the solid 10. Yeah, you're right. He's had a history of making mistakes, especially with 1-pin spares.
Right. He's missed 2 pins. He's missed 4 pins. He's missed 10 pins. Tony converts and takes the lead by 1 pin. What Amleto has to do, though, is absolutely put that totally behind him and say the match is even, and we've got 8 frames left.
Right, now it's an 8-frame match.
Right.
$27,000 hanging in the balance for Tony Westlake. He goes right to $100,000 if he wins tonight. For Amleto, he would go to $130,000.
I can remember when I won on the summer tour, it was worth $3,000.
Make it $140 for him. Oh, light hit, 7-pin. Finally decides to fall for Tony Westlake as he strikes in the third. Leto with 3 career PBA championships. Averaged nearly 6 pins per game better than the guy who finished second in this tournament.
That's dominating the field. Soft 10-pin. And here's the spare again.
Now to a third ball.
Absolutely. You're right. That is his third ball. How's this one going to feel?
Let me ask you this. Is there any limit to how many balls you could throw in a championship round?
That's a good question, Dan. I don't think so. I mean, we're limited to 8 to have in the paddock. He's still at 3 already. We're only going 3 frames. You see it hit soft here, and the 6-pin just sliding off into the channel. The ball going back and getting the 5 and the 9.
Well, there's no limit, we're told. National Tournament Director Harry Golden offering that advice through the mediator, Kevin Shippey, the PBA's Public Relations Director. Leto may go through the whole arsenal. Left-hand lane, light again. Oh, boy. Thankfully, the 10-pin left, but he did leave the 2.
Well, he missed it on the right. And we saw Westlake miss the 4-pin on the left and then miss it the next time on the right.
Well, I opt for the Mark Roth School of Spare Shooting if it's me. I throw it hard and straight. Don't give it any room to go anywhere.
Let's see what he does. Switches balls again. And hits a flush this time.
Well, I'm confused. Obviously, Amleto is not. The fireworks continue here from Wichita, Kansas, when we return.
Whoa. When they first asked if I wanted to be a part of Best Western, I said, what a country. I always wanted to do a cowboy movie. Then they said, no, it's a commercial for thousands of different Best Western hotels, motor inns, and resorts. I said, no problem, as long as you still film me like a real American cowboy. Anybody has a quarter? Whoa! Weepy, you'll get along, little Bobby!
When she was 6, her dad taught her how to ride a two-wheeler. When she was 9, he helped her explore the universe. When she was 14, her mother taught her how to hit a wicked backhand. But for all their love and attention, there was one lesson left untaught. Susie's parents never taught her about drugs, that drugs kill. So Susie learned one final lesson on her own. When you don't say no to your kids about drugs, it's like saying yes.
ESPN is your ticket to the NFL when the San Francisco 49ers and Los Angeles Rams go head-to-head. The Super Bowl champion 49ers enter a new era as their new coach faces his first live test. The Rams clash with their fierce Western rivals in the Far East at the American Bowl in Tokyo. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann bring you the preseason premiere of NFL football, Saturday night, live on ESPN.
Bob Lee, Dan Patrick, live and direct from Sports Center, coming up next after the championship round of the $150,000 Wichita Open. Frank Sweet Music Viola, the big trade there. He's pitching for the Mets this evening, and also a recap of the Red Sox and the first-place Orioles, who continue to fade in the AL East. But no fade away for Westlake, who gives it the slash-o-matic on the right-hand lane.
And takes a 12-pin lead with that.
Key double there for Westlake.
The ball almost seemed to be fading as it got to the 5-pin. Light hits are carrying well tonight. Here's his reaction. Little jump. Not quite high enough to stuff it, but...
Hop, skip, and a strike. Is it 3 in a row? No. The 2-pin seems to be the pin on the left-hand lane that's gotten the most duty this evening.
And that lane just doesn't seem to want to snap back. It seems to just kind of straighten out at about 50 feet for both players. Makes it an 11-pin match if he makes the 2-pin, which after tonight we've had a lot of missed spares. I don't know how many missed spares we've had so far, but...
Tony with 14 top 24 finishes this year, 19 cashes in 24 events, disposes of the 2, and through 5 frames in the championship game, leads by 11.
And Leto's still opting to use this purple ball in the right lane. And we'll see if he switches again, uses the black ball in the left lane.
He got all of that one.
He says, Westlake, if you could push it, so could I.
Teresa, his beautiful wife, seems sullen at this point, but I know she'll smile if he doubles here.
And he asked for his first re-rack on the left lane as we watch this ball snap in there and blow that 5 and everything else over into the 7. And his reaction, nothing to get excited about yet. He went to double. Hasn't hit the pocket on this lane yet. Picked a finish over here. And he's using the purple ball on this lane now.
This ball hooks more.
And I don't know.
Yeah, it does. Bet you this one gets to the pocket.
You called that one right.
Yes, back with the double. A couple of jabs to the left hand from Monacelli, and now what will Westlake do?
Boy, did this ball make it back a long way. He really gave it some room over about the 18th board out to about the 7th and got it back to carry.
Back to live action. Westlake answers with a strike of his own. So the lead had been trimmed down to 1, but Westlake comes back with a strike in the 6th.
And he keeps it at 1. Tony keeps it at 1 right now.
Two of the finest players right now on the PBA National Tour hooked up here in the title match.
Tony trying to answer Amleto's double with one of his own.
Loose arm swing and leaves the ringing 10.
And his best shot on that lane so far, and it just didn't happen. A solid 10-pin. Watch the 6-pin, second from the right as the ball finishes flush in there, and it just sails right around that 10. He says, come on, please. Oh, no.
He knew he threw the shot that he wanted right there. They finished 1-2 in the Bowler of the Month balloting, Bowling Writers Association of America. So it's 118 through 6. Spare up for Westlake in the 7th.
Now, Leto can take the lead for the first time in the match. That's what he was doing all week.
And his younger brother, Rodolfo, getting almost as much time on ESPN as Chris Berman over the last month. Could call him Rodolfo Money Monacelli.
And Leto, just a couple frames ago, was trailing by 11, can go up by 19 with one more strike. It's the difference of carrying those 10s or leaving that 10 pin. Keeps Westlake in the match. And again, the way Amleto's been shooting spares, there's still a question mark here. What's going to happen here? As he comes in light here, very wide, gets the tickler. We've seen the 7 and the 10 on these hits, but the 7 gets out of there. Back to live. Never a doubt.
Covered it nicely. So a spare up in the 8th. For Leto Monicelli, 8-pin match. Westlake with a double here could go ahead.
Right. Oh, another solid 10
wow.
pin.
Back-to-back solid 10s. And is the velocity just too much? Why do you leave the solid 10?
You leave it because the ball hits too hard or doesn't have enough roll, and of course you got one round object hitting another down there with those pins, and that 6-pin just sailing around that 10. Then if I knew why that, I'd have made a lot more money than I did.
I know, but you're the expert analyst.
Watch it. Watch your 6-pin, the second from the right, as the ball appears perfectly in the 1-3 pocket. And the 6-pin got close to the 10 there, but it didn't hit it.
I wonder if the 6 has anything to do with the way the 3 hits it. You see the 3 that time went almost straight back?
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, I bet it does. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Right now, he wants to get one in the 9th frame to set himself up.
Ooh, keeps the speed up, and does he trip the 4? No, and Westlake beside himself, befuddled, as it were, threw a good shot.
It's like Dave Ferraro last week, almost. It's just all those balls in the pocket, and they won't fall. The pins won't cooperate. Match is right at 10 pins right now. He's missed it twice. This time he gets it.
Funny story about Monacelli this week. Right before the Pro-Am, he went outside. He'd been practicing. put his bowling balls in what he thought was his rental car and locked the car. It turned out it wasn't his car. Had to wait around all day. Couldn't figure out whose it was. And in the end, in the very end, it turned out to be Ernie Schlegel's rental car.
Oh, my goodness. Right now, he's leading by 10, is looking to set himself up for the 10 with a strike in the ninth.
Twisting and a turn and keeps the speed down. Ringing 10 for Monacelli in the ninth.
Anything can happen here, Dan. Amleto needs to make this spare and get a double in the 10th frame to lock up the match. If that doesn't happen, Westlake is going to have a chance to win this title. A tie is still a potential.
Cross lane, stands up on it a little bit and clips out the 10.
This is what's so important in the 10th frame here right now. It's just so much money riding on one shot, one or two shots. This is Amleto in his pre-shot routine here.
Loads up, does it the same way every time. We'll go to live action now, though, in the 10th. This is the key shot of the match.
Can't throw it any better, Danny.
Teresa, still no smile. She's waiting for one more X.
Well, that's exactly what Rodolfo said. He leaned over to her, and I don't know whether he said one more or una mas, but...
Well, Amleto precariously perched in a position where if he strikes, he's won his second in the last 4 tournaments. And his second of the year, the 4th of his career.
He looks calm. Boy, these guys have just performed so well under the pressure, but you could just see it in Tony's eyes right there. I mean, he is just registered like a computer. I can win.
Spare gives him 205. 2 strikes and 9 gives Tony Westlake 205.
Right. He's left 3 10-pins so far this game already, and he missed it. Big shot. Now he needs 2 strikes and 9 to win. Boy, that was a big miss.
Well, that pretty much says it all. Nice round of applause from Leto Monicelli, really with a solid performance. Ends up with 204. Now the writing on the wall for Westlake. 2 strikes and 9, and he wins again.
That's one. I personally think he's one of the best pressure bowlers that I've ever seen. But we'll see what he can do right now. This is what it's all about out here.
And Leto, I wonder if he's pondering the miss of the 10. Would have changed the complexion, but this is the shot right here.
Well, the carry.
Ringing 10, and Monacelli with the high fives, and Leto with the win. But you know, Westlake really didn't lose this match with that shot.
Oh. Boy, did he throw that pretty. To lose on that shot. He goes 10-pin, 10-pin, 4-pin strike, 10-pin, his last 5 shots.
A standing ovation for Leto Monicelli and for Tony Westlake here at Northrock Lanes in Wichita. We'll be back to talk with the champ from down under in Venezuela right after we take this final timeout.
Ortho Air Conditioners, pressure
Builder Square. We buy by the trainload. Direct from top manufacturers. There's no middleman, no frills, no membership fees. And at Builder Square, we won't be undersold. Ever. Builder Square, where the values keep rolling on. Because the more we sell, the lower the price.
It's great. They fixed up that old truck and went out for their big driving lesson. You know, they'll never forget this day as long as they live.
Here's to fathers and sons. First-time driving lessons and comfortable blue jeans. Wrangler.
Retailers like me are doing our part to help fight muscular dystrophy. And you can too. With every Budweiser or Bud Light you buy through Labor Day, you'll help make a contribution. So come on, join the team.
A few words on reading for success.
Things are happening so fast right now that the business magazines are history. I need relevant information every day.
Today's Wall Street Journal. Faster, tougher, smarter. Call 800-372-3000 for this special journal offer. 12 weeks, just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. Call 800-372-3000 now for the Wall Street Journal.
Venezuela's a long way from Kansas, but I think you've made some fans, Amleto. Terrific championship game.
Well, I think Tony bowled great. I bowled good, very good. I mean, I'm pleased the way I bowled. I wish I could pick up the two-pen. I want to thank Frank DiSocio and Joe Crum for everything. Everything was great here this week, and I hope we come back next year here.
Well, speaking of Frank DiSocio, we're going to bring him in. He's got a marvelous trophy to present to you.
There you go, Amleto. Great bowling this week. Great bowling.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming here and watch us. It was great to see you guys. Thank you.
And a marvelous proprietor and a great host, John Crum, with an enlarged version of $27,000.
Right, we got the enlarged version we're going to put up so we can put his picture above it and keep it around next year so he'll know where he's coming to. Okay, here's the one your wife can have to spend, okay? And I think you got to turn in every week to the Tony Amaretta show or the Amaretta Tony show. You guys would be on every week almost. We had a great time. Thank you.
All right, Amleto, any thoughts about the second win in 4 weeks?
I don't know. I was pretty nervous because the lanes got a lot tighter, and I didn't know if to change balls. But I said, you got to do what you think, and I thought I should change, and I think it worked pretty good.
Uh-huh. Well, I'd say it worked pretty well. How do you say I'm going to make the two-pin in Italian for our Italian viewers?
Vado a prendere il pino number 2.
Do we have Tony? Let's have Tony in for a quick question here from Mike Durbin.
Tony Westlake right here, right now. I imagine right now that you want to kind of take the 10-pin and eat it.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough pill to swallow, but I guess the job is just to get here and take what you get and go get them next week.
But you certainly are on a roll. The last 3 weeks have been great.
Yeah, it has. It feels great, and I just hope to keep it going next week.
First, the second, and the third. We're going to be back for bowling for it again next week?
I'll be there.
Well, all right, Leto Monicelli. Do you think that there's a possibility that you could win 2 in a row? Are you heading to Green Bay next week?
Yes, it's always a chance, you know. You're going to do the best you can. And if everything goes your way, you do it.
After years of frustration for you, you've won twice now from the top seed position. Is it easier than it looks?
I don't know if it's easy. I don't know. I don't think it's easy. You get used to it. I mean, I think my concentration is a little better when I'm bowling. I'm thinking more what I have to do instead of, rush and think about, get the game done, and, it didn't work that way. So I think this is better.
Yeah, I think you got the right formula. We have to say so long from Wichita, Kansas. Thanks for joining us here on ESPN. The championship round finals of the $150,000 Wichita Open have been brought to you by Builders Square, America's largest home improvement warehouse. By Wrangler, American Hero Jeans. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Next week, the PBA Summer Tour heads up to Green Bay, Wisconsin and Red Carpet Lanes for the championship round finals of the $125,000 LaMode Classic, beginning at 9:30 Eastern Time live on ESPN.